Hi, darling.
Hi.
You were meant to say hi, darling, and then we could both drink.
Oh.
Is that a funny joke?
Hi, darling.
Hi, darling.
Hi, darling.
Hi, darling. Felt like we were being trolled.
What do you mean?
By the experts. We always say hi, darling, at the beginning, but we're not TJ.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, we'll come to that.
Come to that.
So we're talking about episodes. This is your job.
31 and 32.
Thank you. I didn't have it written down. That's why it's your job, because you're always really good at knowing what episodes we're on. And the past 4 episodes, I've written down what numbers it is, and then I just didn't this time.
Leave it up to me.
Oh, thanks, darling. I can always rely on you.
31 and 32. We're coming towards the end.
Wow.
But so this was the penultimate dinner party. I thought we'd already done the penultimate, but anyway.
No, it's because it said last week they said we're a week away from the second last. It's like, bloody hell, just let it happen. You don't have to try and say it every time. But it was interesting because usually they do always say penultimate.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But we had the end of the homestays as well. I think we've just got to get right into it.
Okay, so should we start with any jokes you have on Jamie and Dave?
Oh, okay.
Just to get that out of the way. Might as well get the boring ones out of the way.
Okay. They're not necessarily boring,
No,
but
sorry.
it was just dominated by 2 other couples this week.
Yeah.
But I am now worrying that I've been too mean about Dave. But I'm still I still think if you liked her and if you fancied her, you'd probably be having sex with her and you wouldn't have gone so cold. But I do think after seeing his dad and the fact that he brought Jamie to see his dad, and that shows quite a lot of commitment.
I think so. I also think I agree that maybe we're a bit harsh on the sex thing. It does make sense that Jamie would... the initiation of sex thing.
Yeah.
It does make sense that Jamie would initiate. But I also want her to feel desired. So...
Also, to be honest, some spoilerific people were getting in my ear and making me think something more was going to happen with Veronica. I thought we were on the cusp of much worse, but actually, as far as we know, it's gone away.
Thank God.
Maybe it will rear its head again.
Don't say that.
But yeah, I'm now thinking, did he have, because of everything that's going on with his dad, did he have a commitment freak out?
Yeah.
That he's now kind of worked past. They seem to have chemistry again a little bit.
They do, and I think she's being cautious, and as we've seen in a flash forward, I don't know if you saw it next week, she said I'm not in love with him at the moment, which I'm like, is that true? Are you just saying that to make him feel more comfortable and not too
She
scared?
seems kind of in love with him. But
yeah. And I think he seems in love with her, but I don't know if it's romantically.
I agree. I can't tell if he's if he knows in his head she's good for me, so I should just try, but it's not really what he wants. He was just so cold with her those weeks.
He was but then also I can see an emotional shutdown.
Yeah, it was very...
Speak on this.
I didn't know until Dave doesn't seem like he's part of the autism club, but
he could be part of the neurodivergent club.
Yeah,
the neurospicy crew.
I didn't know until I read Fern Brady's book about the shutdown, meltdown thing that autistic people often have, and they either tend towards both or one or the other. And I'm definitely more of a shutdown girly. When I read it, I was like, oh, that's what happened when you're
overwhelmed.
When I'm overwhelmed, when I accidentally do something bad, or hitting my granny on the head with a croquet mallet. This must have come up before.
I don't know if it has come up.
I was balancing it. I was balancing it in the air.
How old were you?
I don't know, 10.
You're very tall and your granny is very small.
Yeah. I was being a little boy, being like
circus boy.
And then it went poof on her head, and you know what she's like. She was like, oh! And I apparently was completely silent, which makes me sound like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Just shut down, too overwhelmed by the terribleness of the moment.
Basically, if Jacqui was looking for an apology from you, there's no way she'd ever get one.
And I think there's been a couple of meltdowns in there. Not really, though. Anyway, it seemed like, Dave could have been having a prolonged shutdown, but it's still the case that it was triggered by him spending a weekend with Veronica.
And I also think bit pathetic. Talk about your feelings if you're actually feeling that way before it gets to this point.
Communicate better.
Yes.
He was kind of lying in saying that the things that he was saying weren't matching up with what was going on.
Yeah.
He didn't say I felt overwhelmed. Actually, maybe he did say I felt overwhelmed.
And quite funny, he did say, that, but in funny ways, but he was also still blaming her for how he was feeling rather than, But he, you know how Jamie also said, I'm not in love with him anymore based on, in the next scene, but she also said, I'd strangle someone for Dave.
I know, I did think,
which is quite an intense thing.
Maybe when you're like meeting his dad, who has been closer to mortality than some of us.
Don't say.
Maybe don't have that as your first opening line, but
I'd strangle someone for this man.
It seemed to win them over, so.
Yeah, it did.
His dad seemed lovely.
He did, he seemed really cute.
Yeah.
Very happy for him.
His dad?
Yeah, his cancer.
Yeah, that's great.
It's doing well. His tumours are shrinking. Fantastic.
Good.
Hope he's well.
It was good to see Dave be emotional about that and tell the others about it, and everyone seemed really happy for him.
Also, in a stark contrast to...
Masterclass.
Has anyone watched Glow Up? And when Maya Jama was presenting it, and she always said... We're going to do a masterclass. Is it masterclass or was it just masterclass?
All right, everybody, get together. It's time for your masterclass.
We were always like... We should make a compilation and put it on YouTube. It'd probably do really well.
This was like 4 years ago. But
yeah, I know, masterclass.
It's lodged in there.
In a stark contrast...
Yeah.
To Ryan's apartment. Jamie's apartment had not a single thing in it.
No, had not a single thing. Had quite a nice view.
It's just interesting from that perspective. We've been listening to podcasts. Well, I've listened to 2 podcasts, both with Matt Bernstein in. Classic. Talking about the male loneliness epidemic. What else is he talking about? Because I listened to one in particular that was on the male loneliness.
New alpha male.
Thank you.
Vibe. This like ice face dunking,
banana peel wiping on your face, and also the rise of republicanism, but also like the fetishization of like Reagan's 80s and like wealth and old money, and basically, oh god, I'm going off on such a tangent to get to the point that Jamie has a very bare apartment. But the point is that aesthetically, because of like being online and like wanting to be perceived in a certain way, people like now live in empty places because it's easier to like make videos,
make content.
And also my point, the reason I brought up the 80s Reagan fetishization thing is because people
pretend
cosplaying wealth.
Yeah.
So you can hire things. So basically it doesn't even look weird anymore if you rented out an empty apartment and film some content in it. People assume it's your house, and it's like,
we obviously haven't got that memo.
Yeah, clearly. But yeah, you can't see the mantelpiece above us that has quite a lot of figurines on it.
2 dogs, a hummingbird.
Yeah, I'm glad you said what it was, because otherwise it sounded like Warhammer. A golden candlestick. A daisy felt, you can see a bit of that. Another felt daffodil here. A very small picture of spinach in that little thing. Yeah, so we didn't get the memo. Anyway, it's just funny how it's become so mainstream that the aspiration is to kind of, I guess it's that clean girl aesthetic as well.
Yeah, the Molly May vibe.
Where everything is white and beige. Why? It looks absolutely hideous. But basically, Jamie only had a ring light in her apartment.
Oh, did she?
I spotted a ring light and I was like, okay, so Jamie has partly got ulterior motives on this show, which I think basically everyone just does. And I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If you can just make videos and make money from that, why would you want to go to a job?
It doesn't mean that she didn't fall in love with Dave, though. I think she kind of said that. She was like, I want to have fun. If I fall in love, great. So, I guess that's true.
There's nothing wrong with Jamie. Okay, so...
Someone who could have done with a bit more of a clean aesthetic.
Yeah, clean boy aesthetic. You know what? Sorry to this man, but I think if my little brother had his own flat, it would look like that.
Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think once
Sorry,
he
Charlie.
moves out of home, it's going to take a few iterations and a couple of girlfriends until
Because
he's not
in his room, he has his
gaming station.
gaming station set up, and it has a chair that's shaped like a chair in a race car. And he also has the pedals and stuff. I'm like, you drive cars all day, you work in a garage, and you come home and you play this game. Me love. Anyway, sorry to Charlie. So basically, something that has maybe never come up before on this podcast, because obviously I'm the resident Australian. I can bring Australian culture to our English listeners, our British, listeners. I feel bad saying British. If you're Welsh, Irish, or Scottish, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Anyway, you know how Ryan said he has a place from everywhere that he's been on his travels. Ryan's travels was a Kentucky tour. Do you know about Kentucky?
Yes, you've told me about Kentucky, but tell the listeners.
So it's like a thing. It's like a rite of passage for Australians. So anytime any Australian comes over to this side of the world, they do Europe.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't just do one country, two countries, you do the whole thing and you do it all because it's far away and it's expensive.
Yeah.
And so after school, everyone goes on Kentucky tours where I presume it's cheaper to just go around, and they go in one town per day. Everyone just gets fucked
So
every
it's like
single
a
night.
gap year.
Yes. But you're just on a tour with a bunch of
So
other Australians.
interrailing would be the equivalent.
Yes, that. But you're with
But it's
other
like
Australians.
interrailing on acid.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely hideous. So I find it really funny that he's like, from my many travels, I'm like, you went on a Kentucky tour, me love. Like, that's not traveling. It is obviously technically traveling, but it's not, you're not engaging with a culture.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is going and getting pissed.
Yeah.
Listen, basically it's a Kentucky collection.
Where did he get the Bob Marley skull with the
Dreadlocks and the doobie? Yeah. Where did that come from? I love that they filmed that. Amsterdam, probably.
Oh, God. Oh, this is a 250-year-old... This is a 250-year-old Edo period katana. So proudly just presenting that.
And why
as
is
it... As if it's going to woo her.
To be fair to Jacqui, why is it on the middle of the table?
First time I've... Actually, not the first. One of the only times I've empathised with Jacqui. I would have cried as well.
Yeah, I would have cried. Would it remind you of the elderly?
That was so funny.
I love that. It's just making me sad for Ryan because it reminds me of the elderly. He's so lonely and he doesn't even know it. To be fair to him, in one... Oh my God, this is the only thing I'm going to be fair. Well, actually, no, the next episode I'm going to be very fair to him.
Yeah.
To be fair to him, in this one situation, Jacqui said, he hasn't done his laundry in 2.5 months. I'm like, it's because he's been with you.
For 2.5 months.
When was he meant to have done his laundry?
Yeah.
So I felt a bit bad for him in that.
Yeah, and mowed the lawn. Again, not possible.
How would he have done that? Okay, this is such an interesting thing. The blinds situation, the shut blinds. So the blinds were fucking filthy for a start, and they were shut. And we were like, what the hell? The light is so bad. And then he said, in case someone goes into the backyard and sees the TV and the sword and wants to break in. Someone would look in that room and be like,
fuck that.
Getting out of here. Oh my God. But it's also funny because in certain... Well, I've told you, my dad always has the blinds down in the living room, and it does my fucking head in because he wants to be able to see the telly. I'm like, this doesn't work then. Don't have the telly directly opposite the window. Ours is on an angle. But we always have the windows open, like the blinds open. It's so depressing.
Yeah. I can't
It gives me depression.
It gives me depression too.
Another thing was he was drinking his smoothie from the blender. That, I think that's what ninjas were initially made for, but I couldn't cope with that.
I thought you meant ninjas. Like
no ninja blenders.
In ancient times, ninjas always drank their smoothies.
He probably would say
blenders.
that though, wouldn't he?
Oh my God. It was such a such shade when she was like, it was so sweet of him to be so confident about it.
I mean,
she pitied him.
Yeah,
I've never
am
seen
happy
that.
for him if that does make him happy. Like,
yeah, but It's a hard one, isn't it? Because Jacqui was an absolute horror this episode.
Yeah.
And this whole week.
Yeah.
But I don't know, when Ryan kind of concluded with like, I want someone to accept me as I am, which he does deserve. But
I think you're allowed to make a
adapt.
few. Yeah, you can't live like that with a woman present.
I mean, you got to change what you're looking for.
But you know what? I think that girl who's his friend probably does live like that with
Probably.
with the boyfriend. They seem like sweet friends. I'm surprised he has them.
They're very. Yeah,
I thought
they're
that
very,
we thought they were very random friends last time we commented on them, but they seem to actually all
very
really like each other.
fervently supportive of him.
Yeah.
When they arrived and he was like, welcome up there, home,
Yeah.
down there. And she
Yeah.
was like, welcome home. That's funny. In those moments, you're like, they're made for each other. And then in other moments, they are the worst pairing in the world.
So should we race through their
story, their journey?
Yeah. Well, I've covered most of my notes, to be honest, on them because I think I was just an observer
when
they
the
were
argument.
because it was so stressful.
It was really stressful. I'm glad that Ryan had obviously filled his friends in on the letter before because it's like,
good.
Okay, he's been acknowledging how fucked up this all is. Before the friends, I just want to touch on the dog thing because again,
I want to talk about this too. Sorry, thank you for bringing it up.
I was a bit torn on the dog thing.
I'm not entirely one side or the other
because the way he was like, no, all of a sudden, Jacqui, I'm raising this dog, and it would do good if you respected that. I was a bit like, come on, unless he was terrified of her getting bitten by a snake.
Yeah,
I was like, I think it's probably okay if the lead is a tiny bit longer.
And also she was just like sniffing. And also she wasn't very good at walking on the lead. So, but also, he's been away for months. So she's probably really excited.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying she hasn't been on a walk, but I mean, she's probably so excited to be like, maybe she hasn't been staying at home. And so she's really excited to smell the area. And like, I don't know, I would find it difficult if we let someone hold spinach. Like, we would be a bit like that, but we obviously wouldn't say it in the Ryan way. We'd be a bit like, can you actually do what I'm telling you to do?
Well, it felt like the look, the kind of like smile that she had reminded me of like when a child's like, no, I can do it, I'll take the dog.
And
then you're like,
and then he talks to her like a child.
Yeah, he does. And it's like, well, you have been like having sex with this woman for a couple of months. Like, if you really do see her as a child, then it's weird that you've even been in a relationship for this long. But also I can understand why you would feel that like she's so unpredictable.
Yeah, I'm definitely not one way or the other. But then also Jacqui did say like, it's her walk, she's allowed to enjoy it. And I was like, actually true.
Sometimes she comes out with things that's like...
Sometimes she comes out with the maddest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And sometimes she comes out with a little tiny pearl of wisdom.
Yeah, with Freya being left outside all day as well. I'm like,
yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because she'll ruin your lovely house. Anyway.
Yeah.
But the friends. Okay, Jacqui's friend. Was she an extra?
Yeah.
She literally didn't say a word.
Yeah, true.
She was just like...
And they went off to the bar. Should we go to the bar?
It was so
I've come all the way from Manly.
I wanted to...
Oh, also, that's another point. Sorry, just quickly about Manly.
Yeah.
Was she saying the beard wasn't very manly, as in masculine, or was she actually saying it didn't suit Manly, the place, and then it was crossed wires?
Maybe.
Wires. I'm just going to put that in. Thoughts? That's it. That's all I've got to say. Sorry. Anyway.
I'm just... I wish I had heard from this silent friend because I'm always like, how is anyone... friends with Jacqui.
Yeah.
And Ryan even said to her at some point, he was like, oh, you've known Jacqui and you've how was she in her previous relationship? And the friend was just like, and then Jacqui started talking. So I was like, I literally think she might have been hired off the street for this.
That's so interesting.
She didn't say a word. Even the Ryan's friend was like, said something to her like, oh, all silent over there. I can't remember what he said, but he like shouted at the friend. And I was like, whoa.
That's funny.
So the friends were justified in being pissed off and at Jacqui and infuriated. They did go a bit hard, I'd say.
Yeah. Don't give Jacqui too much to work with here.
I know, I don't. But I like, you would... you would kind of get whipped up into that frenzy if you were talking to Jacqui, because she doesn't give you the normal reactions.
I wouldn't be able to talk to her.
She's so weird. Like sometimes when she's being told off, it's almost like she's expecting it and she just kind of sits there. It's like she's like getting the thing that she's wanted to happen or something.
Yeah.
And then kind of just, when she was like, why did you come here to see us then? When they were shouting at her. It was so strange.
Yeah.
But the girl did say at some point, like, look at me when I'm talking to you. And I was like, ooh, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
But everything that they were saying was very much based in justified reasons.
Yeah. And then as we kind of go into the dinner party, it's kind of all on the same topic because it's talking about the letter. It was really annoying that Jacqui was just sitting there saying, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I know. And then even Jeff said,
yeah,
I heard you. I heard the letter, and she still said she hadn't said it.
Yeah. And she was like, basically, it was the same argument that Veronica had, where someone interprets their words a tiny bit different, but the sentiment is exactly the same. And I wrote down, no one else is allowed to interpret her words, but she can interpret everyone else's.
Yes,
and
so true.
Basically everything that Ryan has said, she's twisting as well. Yeah, I just can't get over that. Should we talk about the dinner party now when they come in separately? Is that too far?
No, yeah, that's fine. The probably the most chilling and hilarious line from Jacqui of the whole season in the taxi. He's just evil. When I think of him, I just think of black smoke.
So evil? What? Where's that come from? He's a bit thick. He's got a small brain.
Everyone, I think his friends and people at the dinner party said like Ryan doesn't lie. Like he's not.
How's that evil? And oh my God, him singing by like,
oh my God.
I couldn't. I was like, I'm so embarrassed for you. I know he's trying to be funny, I think.
But I feel like her saying, when I think of him, I think of black smoke is actually the black smoke that's inside her when she's about to
explode,
unleash rage on someone or unleash manipulation on something. It's like her own
black smoke. She needs to look at the black smoke inside.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's hectic. So that whole argument was so annoying, but also funny that everyone was supporting Ryan. I was really pleased that everyone could because when they've been talking on the couch before, I feel like no one can support Ryan, and it's not always Jacqui doesn't always get a hard time, but when she does, like, I don't know, Ryan doesn't get that much support because he's also annoying. But in this situation it was pretty clear.
She's manipulative, so she knows the things to bring up that will wind him up on in the commitment ceremonies. Yeah. But they brought her in first and she did not get the support of the group.
Nope.
Which was amazing.
And I love that Jeff is just like always pissing himself and just like, Jacqui, I wouldn't be here if you wrote that letter to me. Like, you can't try and get away with this.
And she kept trying to have a little conversation with Ryan on her own so that she can manipulate him. She kept saying, let's talk over there. And he very cleverly was just like, no, he knew he had to say it in front of the group, otherwise he wouldn't be able to stick to it or something. I feel like he kind of handled it quite well this episode. He handled it
so well. I was really impressed, and especially when she did actually take him off.
Yes, and she tried everything, didn't she?
She
hugged him and was crying a bit. Like, is this going to work? It was
so weird. Yeah, you could see it, and the experts were saying like, oh, she's realising it's happening now. Yeah. And she did try all of her tactics.
She did.
That's chilling.
And he was good because he kind of comforted her. Like, he was sort of like, well, we're breaking up.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry that you're sad. It was chilling.
And she just kept saying like, I wish he could communicate normally. I wish he would apologise to me. I was like, what is actually wrong with you? Like,
and when she said, is there anything about this that you want to see more of to him? And like gestured to her body. It was so weird.
Oh God. I also love that Ryan, this is another thing that made me really like him saying like, they're my best friends and they mean more to me than you.
That was great.
I was like, good. Yeah. I'm glad you've got that perspective because that should be the way.
Because that's what should have happened with Athena.
Yeah. This is my sister. She means more to me than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jacqui then said, why don't you want to be someone great?
Oh,
and
horrible. I feel so bad for Ryan.
I do, but then he came out with the best
Oh yeah.
Kind of, I wrote it down.
Yeah.
It made me really happy, and I was like, you know what? Sorry for all the things we've said about Ryan, but also he is very confident in himself, and he can handle it.
Yeah.
He said, "You don't like me for who I am, and that is fine. I love myself. I'm confident in myself. I have an amazing life. Your influence on it at the moment is destructive because you're trying to change it, and that's not what a relationship is."
That was really...
Okay, Ryan. Yes, correct.
That was really good.
Correct. And then Jacqui immediately said, "I'm not creating the hostile environment. It's all you."
Oh my God.
Nothing goes into that brain.
It's mad. But it's like, she didn't realise that she was in the wrong from reflecting on herself. She just kind of saw that she was losing the battle and had to switch sides and be like, oh, I guess maybe, I don't know. It was so weird the way that she changed around to being like, I'm losing him.
No, what
but
you said was
like
perfect. It wasn't from self-reflection.
It was
from
a conscience thing.
A
Tactical
perspective. Yes, totally. That is so true.
And it was like, oh, so you actually do want to keep him. Like, you have been trying to manipulate him this whole time, even though you've been acting like he's not good enough for you.
And like he said, like, why don't you just find someone that ticks all of the boxes on your list? Like, why are you trying to change me? And it's so true. Like, because she was like, my person doesn't exist. It was like,
no one's good enough for me. And he was just like, see ya.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. I hope to God he sticks by it. I think he's done.
I think he's done. How could you carry on with that?
Yeah.
Situation?
Because he obviously went home and was like, I want to be in my cozy house
with Freya. I love that his dog's called Freya.
That is really cute.
Yeah.
She was cute.
She was cute.
Also, Adrian coming out as the feminist of the series again, apparently.
Yeah.
It's his body, his choice, Jacqui.
I'm a little bit confused, but
okay, Adrian.
Yeah, but fine.
Where did you learn that one?
Yeah. The manosphere, probably. Yeah. He's got it confused, manipulating it for men's rights. Anyway. So Adrian actually...
He's slightly saying that he might be interested in Perth.
He's not being all defensive like he was when, before. He's actually saying, I really like Perth. And he's...
I think though, once she's out of sight, out of mind,
yeah,
it's going to be a
he's
different
saying
story.
we should be in an open relationship for a while, but
long distance relationship.
That's what I meant. I said the wrong word. Sorry. I think I was thinking open because East geographically. Listen, guys, for just as a reminder, where's he from? Sydney.
Yeah,
Sydney and Perth are so far away from each other. It's like 4 hours on a plane.
It's crazy.
That's not, you can't do a fucking long distance relationship. Australia is insane, especially with Perth. You could maybe do it on the East Coast, even though that's still ridiculous. But a plane? No.
Yeah.
No, my love. Maybe some people have done it. Kudos to them. It's not going to be me. But yeah, basically, I'm impressed. He was saying some nice things when they were having their little picnic on the beach. It looked like they were rehashing a conversation they'd already had about like, oh, let's try this on the outside, and that was cute.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think they should be together. No. So, whatever.
Cute for them in their delusion bubble right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Beth and TJ.
Go on then.
Oh my God. I loved Darcy.
The gay bestie.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love we just always love when there's a gay best friend, even though I'm always a bit terrified of them and also sometimes don't like them, but they are always right.
It's now becoming a cornerstone. What would you say? It's a recurring motif in MAFS.
Yeah.
Across UK and Australia.
Yeah.
Like we had Polly's best friend.
Yeah.
We've had a few who really come and just, they're like, he was reading TJ to shit, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And
to filth. Yeah. Is that what it is? Reading him to filth?
Yeah. And TJ was sweating. I think he knew.
Yeah. And I love, he was pointing out, wasn't he, that he sounds scripted. He was like, TJ sounds very scripted.
Very rehearsed.
Rehearsed, yes. And I was like, boom, that is so, oh my God, he does sound really rehearsed. Yes, gay queen.
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah. And then he just told Beth exactly what he thought when they like went off together, and in the best way. Like, she wasn't defensive or offended about it. Like, she just really trusted him.
Yeah, they always do.
And she said, like, he's telling me one thing, but my body feels a different way. And I was like, that's so
you need to listen to that.
And I kind of like recognized it. Like, I feel like I had a few kind of things with quite camp men when I was in the closet, because as you do.
Beard.
Yeah. I was drawn to slightly more...
The campies.
Yeah, the campies. But then you'd be like, do you like me? You're being very nice, but there's a feeling missing.
You're saying friendship. You're saying friendship a lot. No.
Yeah, and it would, you'd kind of end up gaslighting yourself, because it's like we're doing and saying all the things that you should be doing and saying, but something, at least one of us is lying in that in this situation.
Yeah. And I know I am.
So I think, that she related it to how she was feeling in her body, and the disconnect was really good. And he was annoying this episode.
What is
so
going
they
on?
slept together.
Yes, after he made a big hoo-ha about how he was not going to sleep with her unless he has an emotional connection.
And I understand that, he might have been like giving it a go.
Yeah.
But I think he should have then said that. He should have been like, I just thought the chemistry might build if we give it a go. But the way he said it when she said, why did you sleep with me? It's like, well, you said you wanted to, so I was attending to your needs as well. It's like, oh, great.
Thanks so much.
That would make you feel so embarrassed.
Why are people so weird?
So dumb.
Don't have sex with someone if you don't want to have sex with someone.
Yeah.
That's so confusing. And I'm glad the experts seem to be saying there's lots of mixed signals.
And then when he was with his friends,
yeah,
suddenly he says, there's obviously something stopping me from wanting a relationship in the future. I was like, is this the time you're saying that all of a sudden?
I know. It was quite weird as well, though, because sorry, I'm just going to quickly slightly drag Beth a tiny bit.
Go for it.
Their family roast dinner looked absolutely fucking disgusting. revolting version of a roast. That is the version of a roast of a family that have moved from England to Australia.
It was, the whole situation was the cushions with
with the
flag
Jack
and the crown.
And the crown, yeah.
It was very classic, wasn't it? And we love our roasts.
We love our roasts. We're going to have them we love our roasts. We have them on a 35-degree day because we love them so much. And also
shriveled chicken
I'm just
leg that's like,
I am,
help me.
This is my family this is the family that I'm from. Like,
their roasts were very
nice.
nice.
No, my mum does a pretty good roast.
Your mum's roast was delicious. But
we did one.
But we did have roasts. We did have a few roasts. And
did we?
Like, not like with your mum, but with your extended family. We had a roast on Christmas. I was like, are we doing this? Yeah, I guess we are.
It's hot. Okay. There was salad as well, Daisy.
There was. It was good.
Yeah.
But like, it's like
4 hams
you
or
don't
something
realize
crazy. Do you remember how many ham?
So many
ham.
You don't realize how core to British identity a roast is until you see expats.
Yeah.
And they're like, we will continue this tradition until we die.
Tradition.
I'm like, there's actually some quite nice other food around here.
Yeah.
That we could
quite
have.
A lot.
We have this to keep us warm when we're freezing our tits off.
Yeah.
In the middle of England. But anyway.
There we are.
But their roast, there was not a drop of gravy anywhere to be seen.
A drop of salt or pepper.
Oh my God.
And then the other thing was when they did meet his friends, she said like, my parents are amazing. They took TJ in, made him feel really welcome. I was like, that's not for you to say.
Yeah,
that's so weird.
That was weird.
Why is she in such a tiny room if she's a salon manager?
I don't know.
She's never had a relationship. It doesn't make sense.
There's something funny going on.
Something squiffy. I was also thinking, I was looking at her back and I was thinking that girl spends a lot of time in the gym.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah. She's absolutely
so she's hench.
Ripped.
Okay. Tiny bedroom, salon manager, gym all the time. It doesn't add up.
It doesn't
add up. I guess you would spend a lot of time at the gym rather than be in your tiny room, but you would have some money if you were managing a salon to not be in your parents' house.
Yeah.
The only reason I'd think of her being in her parents' house was if she'd come out of a relationship, which she's never
like
been
Karina,
in.
or if you have a house like Karina's parents do.
Big.
Live there.
Yeah.
Pool.
And the rental prices in Perth.
Yeah.
That's that
we
goes
get
together.
it.
That makes sense. Doesn't make sense for Beth. She's 28. Why?
I know.
Unless she's renting. She was renting and she decided to give it up to be on MAFS.
I don't think so.
But you wouldn't do that.
Not only is she pretty, but she's confident. It's confusing.
It's not adding up.
It's not adding up.
I just had my ring. It's a bit pokey outy and it went near my eye as I drank my tea and it made me think of we went to a witch talk last night and it made me think of the witch from the stick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There was a story of a woman who was she was accused of being a witch, wasn't she? And she had like 7 children and one of them had a stick in its hand and she bent down and it went up in her eye and she lost her eye.
Then she got hanged for being a witch.
Hanged for being a witch. Ugh, and that's how the cookie crumbles. Anyway, so
I hate when there's couples that aren't having sex. Everyone's talking about whether or not they're having sex. I hate the language that everyone uses.
Yeah.
TJ said to his friends something about romantic stimulation. I'm like, yeah, we're good friends, but there's not a lot of romantic stimulation.
So
like,
you literally saying she's not making my willy go up?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm tickling my willy to make it go up.
Don't like it.
Don't like it. And also it puts too much, even if you're all talking about it, it's never going to happen because it's too stressful and pressure filled.
Yeah.
What the hell? Okay, let's talk about Darling Gate. That is
so camp.
So camp.
So camp.
We say
I
darling
like
to
you
each
too,
other.
darling.
We say darling to each other all the time, but also we're A, British.
Yeah.
B, gay. C, you're a bit posh.
Yeah.
It also just feels very natural for us.
It just sounded, it wasn't coming out as a term of affection. Like,
no.
It was
like, did she say, I want you to call me darling and babe or something?
No, it seemed like he'd been pushed beyond some kind of limit and it was just coming out.
Why you would suddenly say darling.
Darling.
You don't say darling unless you actually, somebody's your darling. In my mind.
You're like, here you go, darling. Unless you're...
I don't think you would in Australia, though. Unless you're...
It was funny. Everyone was like, where's this coming from?
I loved everyone just starting to drink around him. And then the experts doing it. It was so funny.
He was irritating.
Yeah.
She
and
was
then he
just
sat
saying,
down and he said, Wagwan.
I missed that.
He sat down at the table and went, Wagwan.
No.
I was like, TJ, give me a break. I've only got so many words I can write down in my notes.
Jamaican heritage.
He might do.
It makes it a bit better.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. He might do. Sorry to TJ.
She is basically just begging you to tell her what's going on. Just break it off. Similarly to Dave the week before, like you've come close enough to breaking up. You can just do it now.
He thinks saying that he might be interested in making a relationship is a commitment for the rest of his lifelong life.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, no, just say whether you're interested in it. If you're not, see you later.
And then they went off and had a conversation and she was trying to be like, are you going to say stay? He couldn't answer. And he was like, I won't be angry if you say stay. I'm like, great.
Thanks so much. Poor Beth.
I know.
Poor Beth.
Yeah.
Despite her roasts, poor Beth.
Yeah, she also loves a bit of a fight. Like she was like, Jacqui, what? She was loving it. She was loving the
suddenly
Jacqui
on
stuff.
Ryan. I remember something happened with them and she was on Ryan's side as well. And I was like, oh, this is interesting because she was so annoyed being paired with Ryan in the wife
maybe
swap
her
week.
and Ryan need to.
I did think that.
Because.
No, he's too awful. Sorry. You need to remember everything else.
Yeah.
He'd be too threatened by her.
Yeah, it's true.
And her strength.
I want to know.
Her strong arms.
I want to know what's going on there. But I just get rid of TJ. No more.
Yeah, he's cute, but go out
Like
with
he's fine.
Darcy.
He's not. We're not saying he's a bad person, but he just needs to deal with this.
He's not dealing with this well.
He's telling TJ to go out with Darcy.
Wait for you to respond to that. Anyway, I think that's everything on my notes.
Me too.
Okay, should we watch the next one now?
Yeah.
With our food. We always have food after a recording. It's like
it's our
we're
reward.
going to get to the end and then we can go and eat some food. We love to eat.
If you want any more content
Yes.
from us, you can sign up to our Patreon.
Yep.
We are releasing weekly episodes.
Yeah.
There's
7 to 10 days.
There's one coming soon. Might have already come out by the time this is out.
Yeah.
On The Last of Us.
The latest episode.
Episode 2.
Episode 2 of season 2. Don't talk about it, Daisy. Don't give too much away.
We're also talking about the lineup for
Traitors.
Celebrity Traitors UK.
Yeah.
So excited.
Looks bloody amazing.
And once MAFS finishes, we're going to be continuing to put loads more content on there about all the Tellian films we're watching. It's not
and
just
also on here.
And on here, we're going to be carrying on an episode on here a week and an episode on Patreon a week.
Yep.
So, if you want more, check us out on there.
Yeah, we're on on Patreon. We're patreon.com/doing the maths.
The link will be in the show notes.
Well, it is for if you're listening on audio. I think I have put it in the YouTube description now as well.
Cool.
So check that out.
Follow us on Instagram at Doing the Maths.
Follow us on TikTok at Doing the Maths. Go subscribe to us on YouTube. Please follow and subscribe to us on Spotify and Apple. And leave us a review, please.
Yes, that would be so lovely.
We like reviews. And thanks for listening. And thank you for listening.
And thank you. Thank you very much.
Time for chili con carne.
Woohoo!
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.